Hi, I'm Miss Church and I teach Year 11 photography. And I'd like to say hi, and I'd like to take this opportunity to update you on the stage of the course that the students are currently on, and also what they still need to achieve before we finish this academic year. Okay, first of all, I just want to say how impressed I've been with all the students in my group. They've all been so resilient, working at home, over Zoom, and back in the classroom under restricted conditions. They're all currently working on really exciting practical ideas that I'm just so impressed about. So this is the timeline here that you see. So we're currently working on producing really quality pieces of work. Now this year we're going to be assessing to the same 4 assessment objectives as we usually do. But this year, well, every year anyway, we're really focusing on the skills and the quality of the work, and we're going to be marking to the students' strengths. So I want to reassure you that we'll be doing our best, and we expect the students to be really working hard to produce work to the best of their ability with our support. Okay, so with that in mind, every student works in a digital portfolio, and I'll show you the cover of that in a minute so you can recognise it in order to support your child. And this means that I can feedback from anywhere, and they can be working from home and in school, which is really beneficial. All their work in the digital portfolio needs to be complete and in there by the 19th of May. Okay, any work that's not been placed in the digital portfolio, I'm afraid can't be assessed. This is their place for all their evidence for the course, for the GCSE. Then on Tuesday, the 25th of May, your child will be partaking in a 5-hour assessment, which is all day. And this work will be where they make a really good quality, to their best ability, final piece or practical piece of work that kind of brings all their ideas together that they've been working on. So it's their chance to really show us what they can do. So for their GCSE grade, we will be marking the portfolio and the work that they produce on that day. Okay, so give them a really good opportunity to do that. So we are hoping then that all their work will be complete and the student can be then signed off at half term. However, if the work isn't complete, or we feel that the student needs to do a bit more to satisfy one of the assessment objectives, we will keep them for the week after half term until their work is complete, and then we'll be able to sign them off. Okay, just move on to the next slide. Okay. So what can you do to help support your students, your child at home? So students need to ensure that their digital portfolio, which is saved on their Google Drive, their school Google Drive, is completed with all their work uploaded. It would be really beneficial if you could help review your child's portfolio and check that they're completing their tasks, their weekly tasks to the deadlines. Students need to complete their practical tasks in lessons as much as possible to the best of their ability. And they need to ensure that they are demonstrating their best skills to show the highest quality of work, which will form part of their evidence for our assessment. Students need to complete their weekly homework task and ensure it is completed by the deadline. This is logged in their portfolio and on class charts, and I'll show you that in a moment. Students also need to complete their 5-hour practical assessment, which is on Tuesday, the 25th of May. This work will form part of the evidence that will generate their grade, along with the portfolio. Okay, so this is the cover of your child's portfolio. It's in their school Google Drive. And on the second page of that you will see that there is a target sheet. And on the top of there, it tells us that the deadline for their portfolio is the 19th of May, and their 5-hour practical assessment is Tuesday, the 25th of May. All students will have the target to ensure that their practical work is fully annotated in their digital portfolio using the writing frame. And we will be having, although we're always teaching this, we will be having a real focus lesson on this as well before the end of the course to really support and ensure that students are annotating to the highest of their ability. And every student will have personalised tasks because they're all working on individual exciting ideas. And that is often negotiated between myself and the student. So if you could support your child in helping them manage this or checking this, that would be absolutely fantastic. Okay. Every child has access to the photography knowledge organisers. They do look slightly different for practical subjects. So with this, we have links to more specific knowledge organisers. And on this slide, we have links to the formal elements. So if your child is working on, when they're working on their project, and one of these or two of these formal elements really link in with their ideas and their practical work, then it's a really good idea. These are hyperlinked, you can click onto them and it will take you to the specific knowledge organiser for that section, which will then provide your child with some technical terminology and some key vocabulary which they can use in their annotations. It will also broaden and hopefully deepen their knowledge of that area as well. And this can then be reflected in their annotations in their portfolio. Often on the knowledge organisers, we might have links to particular websites as well, which will help them really deepen their knowledge. And on this slide, we have links to knowledge organisers, which are more technique-based. So the first few from aperture, focus, ISO, shutter speed and light are more to do with actual photography. So whether they're using a digital SLR at school and then annotating what they've done at home, they can use these. It will really kind of unpick some of those myths and those ideas for them. But also they can, if they're using their mobile phones, because the students will maybe doing that at the weekends and they were over lockdown, lots of mobile phone cameras now work with some of the ideas and the functionality of the digital SLR. So it will help them use the key terms in their portfolios, which is really, really important for all subjects. And then double exposure, photographic collage, photography weave and stitch into photographs. These are post photography or editing tools that they can then, if they're working in any of these areas, again, they can look at any kind of key photography artists that will help them, some instructions, and again, some key vocabulary to use in their annotations. Okay. Students are familiar with writing frames, and we produce writing frames for analysing photography artists. And these range from, just leave my face a minute. These range from developing, able to skillful, and then to challenge. So this is for depending on the student's writing ability, but also their confidence levels when it comes to analysing and writing. So similar to what they achieve in English. But we're always encouraging students to challenge themselves and push themselves. So if they start off on, these are all hyperlinked on an able writing frame, we're hoping that later on in the course they become skillful through practice. Okay, and they're differentiated for the different students' needs. So whenever students are writing and analysing photography artists' work, it is imperative and so important they use the writing frame, because the questions they're asking them are the things that we're assessing them on. We are going to spend a lesson just looking at one of their pieces of analysis and making sure it's the best that student can achieve, because then that will contribute to our assessment evidence. Okay, and we put this in as well because there's so much information out there, but this will help kind of focus students to thinking about where the best information or the most relevant information for their course and their ideas are. So websites, reading list at the bottom, things on the telly, and local sites that now restrictions are easing, you can take your child to for some photo shoots or to go to some galleries and gain inspiration. Obviously, do look at the government guidelines at that time in terms of what we can do. Okay, so I hope that's helped. So essentially, the students are doing really, really well, and I'm really impressed. We've got a few weeks left of the course now. So what's really important is two things, really, that the work is up to date and gets absolutely complete, and that the students are working to the best of their ability and sourcing our help. Okay, so we are really here to support your children. We are offering Tuesday and Wednesday after school. If your child wants to come along, they can use the facilities or computers or cameras or have a tutorial with us. But yeah, it's about your student now producing the best quality work that they can with our support and our guidance. Okay, so if you do have any questions, I'm really happy to answer them. Then there's my email address, and also I may be ringing some of you to talk in more depth about your child and how we can support them further as well. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope that is nice and clear for you. Okay, and